All right, huge breaking news tonight. The Hill's John Solomon, investigative reporter Sarah Carter, they released bombshell reports equally tonight. Solomon reporting, according to the memos obtained, the FBI informant that now has had his NDA lifted at the center of this case gathered years and years of evidence of Russia's plot to control U.S. nuclear fuel, which included the Uranium One deal. And Sarah Carter reporting that she has received a treasure trove of documents that, in fact, prove tonight the FBI informant has knowledge of Russia's involvement in Uranium One. Also joining us now is the attorney for the FBI informant, Victoria Tunsing, along with John and Sarah. Sarah, let's start with your report. A treasure trove. That is huge.
It is, Sean. I mean, there's over 5,000 documents, which include emails, briefs, other documentation, memorandums that the informant had turned over to the FBI and Justice Department. And within these documents, it's very evident of Russia's intentions to enter the American market, energy market, and their intentions to acquire Uranium One.
John, you go into extensive detail in a very long, hard-hitting piece tonight and revealing piece how the FBI informant, you actually said 6 years. I thought he was only an informant for 4 years, if I read your piece correct, that he has evidence was on the inside, directly from Putin's Russia, you know, the push for nuclear fuel deals, and used, and all the crimes we've talked about, bribery, kickback, extortion, money laundering, racketeering, all now corroborated and will be corroborated even further. Go into your report.
Yeah, you know, Sarah just said something about the importance of the dominance of the uranium market. This is an email that the FBI's had for 6 years. It shows that Uranium One was part of a Russia strategy to control, not just benefit from the global market, control the global market. That would put the United States at a disadvantage. That's the sort of evidence that this FBI informant has right now. And if you go back, last week we heard several things from the Justice Department. There's no connection to Uranium One. These are emails that say Uranium One that are in the FBI files. They said that there was no connection between the Uranium One case and the criminal case. We now know the criminal case got its first evidence in 2009, a whole year before the Uranium One deal was approved by the Obama administration. There are a lot of things that people have been saying that these documents simply don't agree with.
All right, I got a very high-ranking congressman, and that knows, let's put it that way, actually sent me a note. The knowledge of key administration officials will be the next thing proven by both of you, and the links to the Clinton Foundation. Sarah, is that true?
I believe that is true. I mean, especially when we're looking at...
You believe or you know? Because I can't ask Victoria that question because she won't tell me.
I know it's true. I know that looking at these documents, following the money, Sean, following the money is what's important here. Now, the Justice Department has not put it out that they will possibly call a special counsel to this. This is still out there. They are looking into it. That's something that they need to decide. But whether it's a special counsel or whether it's a prosecutor that's investigating this, they will be able to follow the money. There are some things
when you
that
say
John
follow the money, my suspicion would go to the money came directly from Russia, was funneled through the Canadian donors to the Clinton Foundation. How good are my instincts?
You have pretty good instincts, and I think there's a lot of other areas that they're going to be looking at as well. Remember, this is like peeling back an onion. You peel one part, and then you find another part, and that's what's going to require somebody to do an extensive investigation.
But it's beginning to cascade, Sarah. It's now beginning.
It is.
It is. And John, I want you to respond to the same thing, that the Clinton Foundation, that this will be traced back to high-ranking Obama administration officials and the Clinton Foundation, and if you add the money portion Sarah mentioned?
I do. I think the place we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks is called the Clinton Global Initiative, sort of a side project of the Clinton Foundation. There are new flows of money there that we're going to be able to report on in the next couple of weeks. And also, there were some personal business projects of very senior Clinton people that got a remarkable infusion of cash from Russia. And we're going to be able to talk about that in the next couple of weeks. It's going to put another layer of interest to this story.
All right, we have a lot of time in this segment, so I want to go very slowly here. Both of you, before I get to Victoria, Sarah and John, you both in your pieces today said 5,000 documents. I hear the number of the FBI informant is much, much greater, tens of thousands. True or false?
Yeah, that seems to be accurate. We have a subset of the documents, and they're very voluminous.
All right, now let me go to Victoria, who's one of the great attorneys. She is the most difficult to get any information out of. Sarah, Victoria, one of the things I've known about you, and I've interviewed you so many times over the years, you now have been doing a deep dive into all of this. You are now representing this FBI informant, I think, who will become an American hero out of all of this, because apparently he was fighting and begging and pleading and saying, the Russians are here, they're doing this, why aren't you paying attention? I hope my instincts are right there. And number two, how devastating legally is this going to be based on what I was just asking Sarah and John about impacting former Obama officials, money, Clinton Foundation?
Well, let me just go to number one first, John, and that is the whole essence of what John and Sarah and I are talking about is that in 2009, 2010, our FBI and presumably our Justice Department and the White House, as my client was told, all knew about this corruption in the Russian nuclear energy area. And there's no separate companies. They're all related. The Russian nuclear energy is controlled from the top, from Putin. They're all one. They all talk to each other. So the evidence about this corruption was known to our government in 2009, 2010, and why is it that CFIUS either wasn't told or CFIUS people knowing about it?
Explain CFIUS. 9 agencies approving the deal that gave control of Uranium 1 to the bad actor, hostile regime, Putin, Russia.
They said, the CFIUS board said that the bad Russians could buy Uranium 1, which contained access to 20% of the U.S. uranium. Why was that decision made? Was CFIUS told? Did Bob Mueller go to Eric Holder and tell him? Eric Holder sat on the CFIUS board.
He was one of the 9.
Did Bob Mueller go to the White House and tell him? The FBI agents told my client that they were briefing the president about his conduct. So, of course, when the CFIUS decision was made, Sean,
all right, but back to my original question, Counselor, if I may, you're too good at your job.
No.
And this is a very serious point. Putting your legal hat on, objectively speaking, yes, they knew. The evidence will prove it based on the documents and your client. Crimes committed on a high level? Well, national security compromised?
I think well, of course, I mean, it goes without saying, giving the Russians control of that uranium was a national security compromise. I think what we're going to have to do is continue to follow the money, because the reporting that John and Sarah are going to be doing in a few days will be revealing about where lots of the various money went and where it came from.
Always we go back, and I believe at the end of this, you guys deserve a Pulitzer. And I'm not the only one thinking that. You guys have dug so deep in this. This has been a deep dive. I applaud you both. And I want to ask, as it relates to who knew what when. What did they know? When did they know it? John Solomon. And I'm talking about Obama, Mueller, Eric Holder, Hillary Clinton.
We're at a little disadvantage right now because we don't have those records, and those are the records that Congress needs to go get. But I can tell you, I have a person quoted in my story who has direct knowledge of what the Justice Department knew. And this person said, without a shred of doubt, we knew in 2009, a year before CFIUS ruled, that Rosatom was engaged in criminality. Without a shadow of a doubt, we knew that Russia was trying to gain a corner on the U.S. market, get a strong hold on our uranium. And without a doubt, we knew they were using political levers to try to get their way here. We're talking about control. Like this document says, they're trying to gain control of our market. That has to be a national security interest that should have been raised to CFIUS.
Presidential daily briefings, we're told. Sarah,
that's right.
Had this information in it before CFIUS approves this.
Sean, that's what we need to find out. We need to see those presidential daily briefings. Congress can get those. They will be able to know whether or not President Obama was briefed on this. And according to a number of people that I've spoken with as well, he was. So I think that will reveal a whole other layer of who knew what, where, and when. And then we follow the money, and it will reveal even more about Hillary Clinton and what she knew and when did she know it, and the other members of the CFIUS
and
board.
Obama,
we need to find those
and
answers.
Holder and Mueller. John,
that's right.
Real quick, we're running out of time.
Yeah, listen, I think even Sessions and Rosenstein have questions to answer. There's people in Congress who don't think they've gotten a straight answer from them.
All right, Victoria, we get the last word from you. Laws broken?
Well, of course.
You are so good at your job. You're so annoyingly good. The American people deserve the truth on this. Our security was compromised. We import uranium because we don't have enough. Newt Gingrich will weigh in on this and more things, and about the Clintons. Are they facing their day of reckoning? And a big announcement at the end of the show.